and welcome to episode 7. We have made it so far. Episode 7 on the Girlfriend series, and it is dating disasters today, okay? And what girlfriends taught us about red flags. Now, I don't typically like to use the word red flags because it's such a social media term at this point, but for the sake of this conversation today, we're going to get into all the conversation around red flags. If you haven't already liked, shared, and subscribed, please do. I will have more of these series coming to you very soon. I'm so excited to have made it this far to episode 7. If you're listening on the podcast, I'm really excited to have you. Please be sure, again, to like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you haven't checked out my new workbook, it is on my website, and so is my new book published on Amazon. If you're a therapist, called Unburdened, The Reclamation Theory. It is the theory I created myself. So I'm super excited to bring that to you guys. Okay, so we're going to get into all the things today about dating disasters, and specifically as it relates to girlfriends, using that as a parallel for talking about dating. Now, what I loved about girlfriends and this whole concept around dating was because most of them, Lynn, Tony, and Joan, were dating most of the show. It's with the exception of Maya. Of course, Maya was married from inception of the show. She married got pregnant as a teen, married her high school love, and they'd been married the entire time of the show. And got divorced, then remarried during the show. So dating disasters. Dating is really tricky nowadays because the landscape of meeting someone in public, getting their phone number, then calling them, those days are not. And those were the days that I met people when I was younger. You met people in public, you were introduced to them, you met them at a function, etc., exchanged numbers, pager numbers, contacted them, started talking, all the things, right? So now that's not the case. Yes, you meet people in public, but I find that people have so much social angst that they may see someone they like, but they would not speak to them, or they would try to find them on social media, ... instead of having the confidence and the bravery to speak to them in public, or just having enough social skills to engage and initiate a conversation. So it has really changed the landscape of dating. On top of the fact that a lot of people now meet on social media, because social media is an integrated part of our life at this point, along with the internet. So email and all of that. So there's a lot of socializing that happens not in person anymore. It happens virtually through text, through social media, through DMs, ... So that also changes the landscape a little bit of what I'm going to say today, because girlfriends really focused on dating in the traditional sense of dating. You meet somebody out, you meet them through a friend, and then you go from there. But I'm also going to talk about the pros to that, meeting in public, being willing to get out of your comfort zone, being willing to expand your horizons. But also I'm going to talk about the pros of social media dating. So let's get right into all the things. Again, my name is Shardé. I go by the Barefoot Therapist. I've been a therapist about 15 years. I created this series because I'm excited about Girlfriends. Is one of my favorite series, but also I like to address different topics just as a therapist and share my perspective. All of this is contextual and nuanced. It's not an all nothing situation or setup. So take what works and don't if it doesn't. Let's get right into it. So if you remember, Girlfriends opens with somewhat of a dating scene. Their first episode, Joan was having a birthday party. Her friends come over for her birthday party. Tony brings one of her exes, her recent ex, as a matter of fact, who she is now dating. And Joan gets really offended. She gets up in arms because, of course, that's violation of girl code, 1. And then 2, her immediate thought was, what is it about Tony that you now want to commit and you want to have all the things that I initially wanted that you didn't see in me? And what she then realized was it wasn't about Tony either. It is about where he was at the time. And that's one thing I wanted to briefly address, is sometimes we get so concerned about our value to other people when dating if they don't want to commit to us. No, it's not necessarily about us. We may not be the right fit. And you certainly don't want to make somebody do something they don't want to do because they're going to treat you accordingly. That's one. Two, you can't make a man be ready to commit. Either he is or he isn't. And just because he commits doesn't mean he's going to be faithful. It doesn't mean he's going to be honest. It doesn't mean he's going to be self-aware, disciplined. It doesn't mean he's a leader. It doesn't mean any of those things. So he can certainly decide not to commit to you and commit to somebody else and be the exact same thing he was to you, to somebody else under the guise of being committed. So don't get invested in this idea that you're less than because they didn't want to commit to you. That can also be a sign and a gift. The other thing is being intentional about what you're willing and not willing to accept. In dating, how you start is really important. Going into it with clear boundaries, with clear personhood authenticity, with being mindful of who you are and what you want, and knowing that that also evolves over time with experiences and experiences with yourself. While you are dating, you are assessing. I cannot express this enough. Dating is an assessment. Do we work? Do you work for me? Do you understand like who I am and how I work? Does that work for you? What kind of habits, flaws do you have? Can I manage that? Because everybody's going to have some things with them. Everyone will have things. You have to determine, are they things that you are willing to put up with there and not just tolerate, because it's going to be forever if you decide to make it permanent, right? But are there things that you can manage that will not then become a reason to separate or divorce? Because sometimes those very things that you thought were cute and quirky, or those very things that you thought you could tolerate, then become the very reason why you say, I need to walk away. So dating it has to be intentional. And you have to be intentional about what your purpose is, and not just the idea, not just what they say on social media. Be clear about your intention in dating. Are you just dating to have a good time? Are you dating for companionship? Are you dating for long-term investment? Are you dating for marriage? Are you why are you dating? Are you dating to have a good, what are you dating for? And then be clear about that as you're dating. Don't mislead people. Don't lie to people. Either, I know I find a lot of people will tell you what they want you to hear so they can get what they want out of you. Be upfront, because that usually doesn't end well at all. Be upfront. So we're going to get into dating. Again, Joan's first the episode was Toni bringing her ex, and then we saw over time how Joan liked to be, or again, my perspective is Joan liked to be the savior. Joan liked to be the person people came to, and she connected with partners that met that need. A lot of times in dating, we are connecting with people that feel a need for us. But that doesn't mean they're not going to violate other things and feeling that one need. So we also have to be mindful about how we're showing up and what we are asking them to pour into. So there are some and again, do I think that is unhealthy? Yes, because when you show up trying to be everything to someone that you can't be, you're going to set yourself up to fail. The other is knowing when people are emotionally unavailable, when people cannot give you their emotional selves because they don't have it to offer or the capacity at the time, and being willing to walk away no matter how much you like them, because you will continue to get invested and they will not. You can't make somebody be invested. The other part of that is when we take on projects, they don't stop being projects because we want to be done with the project. They don't stop being projects because we've decided, oh, we're ready for you to lead, and we think we've poured in enough, and we've wasted enough of our time and given enough of our time and energy, and you should now be ready. That's not the way it works. That is not the way it works. So be clear about what you're choosing. And a lot of times Joan would choose emotionally unavailable men, or men that she controlled by appearing to be perfect. And so when she finally met her husband, he gathered her very quickly because he was clear about who he was. He wasn't willing to engage in the foolishness of, you can control me because I'm emotionally unavailable and you appear to have your things together. No, he had his things together, and he was clear about who he was. He wasn't trying to be something he wasn't. And he offered her something that other partners had not. That was authenticity. That was honesty. That was a desire to be with her, not because he was she was mothering him or trying to take care of him, simply because she was who she was and he loved that about her. That is one of the most beautiful opportunities to engage, is when someone loves just you, just how you pull up, your eccentricities. They may not like all of it, but they know how to manage it and they know how to engage with you. So if we move on to Tony, this ma'am was all about transactional dating. And the impact that had was her not understanding how to build genuine connection, because her intention was to get her needs met, but that was usually material needs, physical needs, not in interpersonal needs, not the emotional needs. She didn't know how to get those met because she also didn't know how to offer that. She also didn't know really how to offer a whole lot of vulnerability. And when she met Todd, which is the man she ended up marrying, she struggled with being emotionally available. Again, interacting in a marriage as a single person will leave you as a single person in a marriage. I hope that made sense. But all relationships to a degree are transactional, but when it's only transactional, that's all you're going to get. And eventually the person who is attempting to connect with you is going to get tired of trying to buy your love. It's going to get tired of being a monetary value to you. It's going to be tired of being prioritized by other people, places, and things, because it is transactional for you. So if you're unaware, if you're not sure, see a therapist. But transactional relationships are very hard to maintain because they're based only on that. So we're going to pause a bit. Again, I want to show you guys something beautiful, as I have in my other videos, this app that I built that is specifically around life organization. Check it out.
Meet Sifted, the AI-powered life operating system designed to bring clarity, focus, and control to everything you do. Tasks, goals, calendar. Sifted brings it all together into one intelligent command center. Plan smarter with powerful task and goal management. Got thoughts, ideas, or mental clutter? Just drop everything into Mind Laundry and let AI instantly organize it into clear, actionable items. Manage every venture from one intelligent business hub with Sifted. Create, organize, and scale your operations with clarity and efficiency. Meet Vera, your built-in AI assistant. From planning and brainstorming to scheduling and decisions, Vera helps you move faster and think clearer. Sifted works across all your devices. Start your plan with flexible and affordable options. Visit sifted.one and start your free 14-day trial today.
I hope that you guys decide to try Sifted. I really, really, really poured a lot into building it. It makes me so excited to be able to offer that. And so I'm going to put I'm going to put the QR code here. So if you can take a moment, scan it, check it out, let me know what your thoughts are. And then we are going to get right back into all the things. Okay, so we left off on Tony and how Tony very much is into transactional dating. So now we're going to get into Maya. Maya, of course, originally married for love. And she married someone when she was young, and they were young. And the tricky thing about that is, as people grow and learn and develop, they want different things. And as they want different things, that can strain their relationship if it is based simply on being in love. Love sounds wonderful, but relationships are so much bigger than that. Marriage is much bigger than that. Marriage is a commitment to be with someone in their day in and day out, through all of their failures, through all of their hurts, through all of their successes, through all of their joy, their pain, their excitement, through all of their challenges, through all of their quirks, all of their bullshit. You are agreeing to participate and be in their lives through all of this. So it is also your responsibility to be with them through that. And if you decide it no longer works for you, it doesn't. And what happened with Maya was she was growing in a different direction. She wanted to go to school. She wanted to expand her horizons. And Darnell wasn't there. Again, men and women psychologically and developmentally are in two different places at the same ages. They are just in two different places. He wanted to be the same. She was ready for something different. The way she went about it was manipulative. She cheated. She cheated to fill a need. But again, I go back to this need thing. She's feeling a need, but she's doing it in a way that is not only going to hurt herself, but it's going to hurt the family that she decided to build. And by the time she realized it was counterproductive, it was too late. You had already violated the sanctity of your marriage. But what came out of that is realizing she wanted more than he could offer. She was in a different place, and he was not prepared to be with her in that place. Because if you remember, there was an episode where he said, listen, if you can accept that this will be our lives, essentially, I will come back to you. We can go back. We will heal things. We will do all the things. But it wasn't. And she wanted more, and she wanted something different. So she divorced Darnell, started exploring, again, did some more growing and learning, and then realized, hey, I'm in a different place. This is what I want. And the want came back to Darnell. And then when they got divorced, went his separate ways, he dated, he grew. Sometimes the separation allows people to develop in ways they are not in your relationship. It forces them to get into the world and decide who they want to be. And they get to date and they get to see things and experience things they didn't because they were married. They get to be in a world where they are now relying on themselves. And I do believe developmentally we all need that. So marrying too early can be a detriment for that reason, unless you know and are prepared to grow together. And that growing together sometimes means growing apart. And Maya having to process, okay, I'm going to lose my family if I decide to invest more in myself. And that's essentially what she chose to do. And it didn't, I don't think that was a detriment to her. I think that was a beautiful challenge and a beautiful opportunity for her to grow and for Darnell to grow. And then they found their way back to each other, because them divorcing was never about love. It wasn't a loss of love. It was the need to develop separately, and that they were going in two different directions. And by the time that they were able to come back together, it was beautiful. And there was challenges. It was still a bumpy road initially, but they figured out their stride, which is absolutely beautiful. So now, we're going to go to Miss Lynn. Miss Lynn's fear of intimacy, her fear of commitment, all the degrees. It showed up similarly in her relationships. You get a relationship with someone, with Bosco. If you guys remember Bosco, she went to Jamaica. Again, Lynn's very impulsive. Made an impulsive decision, meets this guy. Oh, we had a good time for a day or so. You're going to move back to the States with me. He was a work in progress. He was not ready to be what she wanted him to be, because she just wanted him to be that. And that was also her reason and excuse for not being intimate and vulnerable, to not work through the things, even though that's what she initially chose. Sometimes we choose, again, projects. You want to be the one with power in the relationship, but you don't want to endure the cost. It requires a cost. There are sacrifices attached to that. And the sacrifice was he was figuring things out. And in the middle of him figuring things out, she enabled him to do nothing. She enabled that. So then she resented it, and she resented him for it. So they broke up. And then by the time that she saw him again and he was thriving, he wanted nothing to do with her, because she mistreated him, resenting him for a choice she made, knowing he was starting from scratch. And making it comfortable for her to set herself up as the one that works and the one that goes out and do all the things. And that was not producive or conducive for her. So all of that to say, dating is a very complicated place. It's a very complicated place, experience. And when you see these things, don't ignore them. Don't ignore them because you love them. Don't ignore them because you like them. Don't ignore them because there's lust. Don't ignore them because the sex is good. Don't ignore them because it feels good right now. What can feel good to you right now, what you will ignore right now to feel good right now can be your downfall shortly thereafter. Can be your downfall in the long term. Do not ignore the red flags. They are red flags for a reason. And if they are counterproductive to you being the best version of yourself and being able to show up in this relationship productively, it's not working. It is not working. Don't be afraid to see a couples therapist. Don't be afraid to go to couples counseling. Be sure that you're in your own counseling so you know what's me and what's you. Because sometimes it's not even them, it's us. We're the problem. But we don't know that. And we keep repeating the same shit in different engagements with different people. So I hope that y'all enjoyed this episode. Please like and subscribe, share, and we'll be back with another episode soon. See you later. Bye.